Thank you so much for being here today, Carl. It's really a pleasure to meet you. I read through your proposal, and before we begin talking about that, I would love to hear a very short introduction from yourself to me and the viewers about yourself and how you got into crypto, of course, stuff like
Yeah. My name's Carl Henry, and I've been involved in the online digital world since 1997, when I built my first website. And the funny thing is,
So
back
one
then,
year before my birth.
yeah, exactly. And my career goes back 20 years before that as well, when I first went self-employed, and I've run lots of different businesses. But my digital experience starts in 1997, and we had to use books. We had to buy a book back then to learn HTML. And I launched my first e-commerce website in '98, and ran that for 4 years, which was forming UK limited companies, and we did it internationally. So it was quite early days back then. So from that point, we've continued to do all kinds of digital production, including video and audio, and then over the years, it's just developed and developed. And the thing that triggered me actually getting to grips with the crypto industry was that we weren't offering our services in return for any cryptocurrencies. So I started looking at them seriously, probably about 2017, 18. Like a lot of us, we were aware of them since maybe 2010, but we didn't believe in them. So yeah, after looking at numerous currencies, I opened up the opportunity for people to pay us in multiple currencies, but I was looking for one to really follow, because I found it too confusing trying to follow every single currency. And I saw Cardano, obviously, like everybody says, by the way that it's been developed, intelligently and cautiously, etc. So all those things applied. I also like the fact that it was in 2018-19, it was also still fairly early in its story. And I thought that gave me a chance to grow with the currency. So there was the fundamentals, the security, the papers that had been written, all that sort of stuff. Plus also, of course, it was very interesting to see the experience of Charles. So he was obviously had first-hand experience, but learned from past mistakes. And since then, I've really focused on Cardano, and I've put in multiple applications. Had 4 funded from Project Catalyst, and those were for building Cardano community hubs, trying to help other people to build, get their the projects up and running, and to help them to interface with the Cardano community. As part of that project of developing hubs around the world, I about 2 years ago started to look at the metaverse industry, and since then I've been building what we call Cardanoverse, and that's now published on the Epic Fortnite platform, and that is sort of the foundation of how I then looked at Unreal Engine, and then that tied with your challenge, and that brings us to today and us talking together.
That sounds really good. So basically you've started building Cardanoverse, and you made it as like a Fortnite map, I assume, and published it there, and now people can go in there and actually just play as well.
Yes. Now Fortnite, the Fortnite platform, because of it having quite a young player base, or there's quite a lot of restrictions, and it's obviously not strictly a blockchain based metaverse. But how we got to Fortnite was because I've been building on Unreal Engine for the last 2 years. So a lot of the things that you'll see in the Fortnite island have already been built in the Unreal Engine. But with Unreal Engine, obviously, you have to have separate hosting with AWS or one of these companies. And we hadn't actually developed everything out, the full open world. We hadn't developed it out to a point where we wanted to launch it yet. But in April, the Fortnite creative added Unreal Engine to Fortnite, and they called it UEFM, Unreal Engine for Fortnite. So straight away, I saw a way of being able to show, it's like an MVP, but better than MVP. And so basically what you see in Fortnite is part of what our open world is that we're building. And I'm also building out now 14 other islands that link to what we call Central City. So basically it's a mirror image of what the open world is going to be. So the linking up with NMKR is something which I'd already been working on for the open world version. So when I saw your challenge, I thought, well, it's a gift.
Perfect fit.
Yeah. And we also, by the way, I also have the white label marketplace set up. I've also used your integration into our websites as well. So we did the initial integration, and then we've done a lot of work for the last 3 or 4 months on the Fortnite platform, because that's brand new. That's still even a beta, actually. UEFM still beta. But because we had a lot of experience with the Unreal Engine, we were able to do some massive things with UEFM in only a few months. So now we're coming back now to looking at how we can monetize as a kind of standalone. The Fortnite is there, it's published, people can go into it today. I always say play today, free.
I mean, that sounds really good. And before I started with crypto and blockchain, I was actually aspiring to be a game developer as well. So I was following like Unreal Engine pretty closely, and I think that Fortnite actually is probably one of the things which is closest to the metaverse. And because it's developed by Epic and they make the Unreal Engine, this like connection that you're talking about is super good and it's like unparalleled. No crypto company would be able to build something like this today.
Exactly.
So it's great. So let's talk quickly about the proposal itself. So you want to basically take what you built and you want to integrate NMKR into the Unreal Engine and then use it in your metaverse as well to basically allow users to mint NFTs directly from inside the game, right?
That's it exactly. And I will say, working with Epic and Fortnite, even though there are restrictions on memory and things like that, they're all good things to learn. And going through the process of how their games work, because their games are on the same restrictions, has shown me a lot of the best practices. And one of the things that they do, they have what they call devices. And this is what I want to build, are going to be not only the interface with no coding, which I know that's a big thing, isn't it, with NMKR?
It is, yeah.
So what I want to do is give devices that can be imported directly as assets, like static meshes, and they can be put individually next to pieces of artwork. And then obviously on the side of Unreal Engine, they have all the settings, so you can put in the price and everything else. So there's that sort of drag and drop aspect to it. And
those devices would then be represented as an NFT, basically?
They would stand next to the NFT, whatever the NFT is, and you would input your details as to what the NFT is, the description, and also there would be a way of linking that device to the wallet within the settings. That's the key thing. And as you say, that people need to be able to go into a virtual gallery, and that's the other thing that we're working on, because I've got another proposal. Because obviously the funds were limited under NMKR, and I'm no criticism there. Just they've got, everything's got to have a limit. So there's a fundamental amount of work that needs to be done, and then there's work specific to NMKR. So the proposal under NMKR is work that I see specifically needs to be done to link up our base work in the other proposal. And bearing in mind, if we don't get funded, I'm still going to do the work. Everything I've done up to now has been self-funded, but it would be nice to have a bit of help.
I think that's a very recurring theme in Cardano. A lot of people that I talked to were like, okay, I'm gonna do it either way, but I want to get funded. So maybe you shouldn't tell people that, but
Yeah,
no,
it's true. But I
I
mean,
think it's really great.
we've already started the work. I mean, whenever I put a proposal in, I like to check that proposal is feasible before I put a proposal in. There's no hopium in what we do, and I actually quite like to build things in advance of putting a proposal in to a certain degree. So anyway, we have the experience, but so the idea would be that we're also designing virtual galleries, a range of virtual galleries that can be imported as static meshes. And those galleries can either be equipped already with the devices, with the link to the wallet and link to NMaker. And the good thing as well, because I've used most parts of the NMaker, not to a great degree, but I've actually implemented them. It's given me lots of ideas of ways that we can implement your various offerings that you have, the different ways to interface with NMaker, because it's not just one thing. I love the new thing that you've done where you can create NFTs, the NMaker Studio.
Yeah, NMaker Studio and NFT Pal is what you mean, I think, where you can
Right,
have the
NFT
layering tool and then you automatically create
That's
the
it.
yeah.
And now, like for instance, like with housing, like one of the NFTs that people sell are plots, and then there's housing goes on the plots. Well, there are ways that I could actually put together layers of different types of houses, different shapes, sizes, and everything else, where we could link that even to a 3D world. So we're looking at many angles, and this work's going to continue on beyond the 5 months that I've stated for the proposal here. But that would give us a good start. That 5 months would give us a good start and would allow us to actually implement the proposal fully. And then afterwards we could layer on other things, no pun intended.
So it's like a really large project, and will be ongoing, basically long term.
Absolutely. Well, when you look at, I think I put in my notes, but you're looking at over 400 million people just in users are accessing the Epic marketplace, which is where people will find the plugins and everything else that I'm talking about. They'll be put into the Epic marketplace, so they'll be downloaded from there. So there's that validity as well. You know, there'll be people can have a lot of faith because it'll be checked out by Epic as well. So I wanted to ask you, obviously your organization is growing quickly and it's sparking off in lots of different directions, in innovative directions. And obviously I don't want to duplicate something that you guys were already thinking about doing. And I wondered, I mean, is this an added value, or is this something you had on your radar, or what?
No, so actually I think this is a really good added value, because this is exactly the kind of proposal that we wanted to achieve with the building on NMaker category. Because for us, like, we want to focus on the core product, right? We want to make the minting part as good as possible. We want to make all like the Cardano blockchain interaction part as good as possible. But we would love to have like an integration into Unreal, into Unity, into Shopify, into whatnot. And basically that's where someone could come in, build something, profit off of that thing that they build, and then we and our community can use this as well, which is I think perfect. And that's the only way we can grow as like a Cardano community. Instead of just NMaker as a company, we bring everyone together to work on this together and just make it as big as possible.
Absolutely. It's sort of like diversification of effort, isn't it? It's sort of another version of diversification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I did was one of the projects that were funded was with Coty. And they were looking for integrations or proposals, and I proposed to integrate the Coty Pay with WordPress and Joomla, which are two CMS website builders that I've used for years.
That's a great idea.
I started out proposing that I would do, I think it was about 3, but I ended up doing 12, because once we'd got the template, once we'd got the API link and everything else, it was easy to sort of almost not exactly cookie cutter, but there were on Joomla there was at least 10 really good shopping carts. So we actually did an implementation of Coty Pay for each of those shopping carts, and we did two, and I did a donation plugin as well. So that's what I'm hoping the expansion might be with yourselves. You mentioned Unity and others. Once we've implemented with Unreal Engine, which is now coming up to be maybe the primary engine, but Unity is used by a lot of people. I mean, the other reason, by the way, I'm mentioning about Fortnite is because there's an opportunity to introduce the two communities. You know, there's about 80 million regular monthly players on Fortnite, and they're all offered now. All the games that us independents are offering are on the same platform, equal with Fortnite. So people, you know, can experiment and look around. And of course, we've got 4 million wallets. Now, I know that isn't 4 million people, but still, even if you take 25% of that, that's a lot of people.
Absolutely.
That could be introduced to Fortnite, and Fortnite are obviously looking for more new players.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. Great. Then let's let's wrap it up. Do you have any like last very important points that you want the community to take away from your proposal? Like that's what you're voting for?
Yeah, I've been involved with Project Catalyst now for about 2 years, and I've been a prolific contributor of ideas and proposals and the other. I think it's been about 37 proposals that I've put in. Now, obviously, they can't all get funded. I think that I would just like people to approach proposals with a spirit of optimism rather than feeling like they're the gatekeepers of the treasury and they're looking to try and pick it to pieces, because it's very hard to get the full enthusiasm and the full feel for the proposals in writing alone. And I always put videos to give a little bit of extra, but still.
And that's why we're here as well. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And look, Patrick, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. And for taking the call personally. That means a lot to me. And so I would just like to say that I'm hoping to look forward to work with NMKR one way or the other. You know, I mean, the plans that I've mentioned to you today are happening. There's no if, buts, or maybe. It would be nice for Catalyst community to support our efforts a little bit. But we'll see. You know, I'm not gonna spend too much time on that hoping on that side of it, because the disappointment is too much.
Yeah, you always need to be like detached, I think, from the result in a way, because I have the same experience. Many of our proposals don't get voted in and so on, but still you've got to do them, and you've got to build and continue on, and at some point you know, success is there. So yeah, thank you so much, Carl, for taking the time. I really appreciated it.